Hi guys, I hope that you're all doing well. Today's lesson is about grade 10 algebra. Algebra is a very layered topic. There are different subtopics. For example, you have exponents, products, factorization, and more. Before we start with today's lesson, we'll be doing products. You need to master your exponents. You need to know all your laws. And we do have the grade 10 exponents playlist. I teach you guys the basics and show you different exam questions. So I'd recommend that you check out this playlist before you watch this lesson. The link will be in the description. So in today's lesson is about products. There are also different subtopics under products. Today we'll be starting with the single bracket distribution, which is the distributive law. So for the distributive law, let's start with 3x, then 2x minus 5. The distributive law states that we have to take the term that is on the outside and multiply it with every term inside the bracket. Please make sure that you pay close attention to your signs, okay? Again, this is grade 8 and 9 work. You've done this in grade 8 algebra as well as grade 9 algebra. There's also an equations playlist that I would also recommend that you watch. It's grade 9 work, however, it comes in handy if you don't know how to distribute. So you have to start with the term that is outside. We have 3x. You have to say 3x times 2x, 3x times 2x. We have to start with the values first. 3 times 2, which is 6. We have x and x, which is x squared. You should be familiar with this as a grade 10 learner. If you're not familiar with this, go and check out the equations playlist. We get 6x squared. Then 3x times negative 5. You have to pay close attention to the signs. We have a positive 3 times a negative 5, which gives us negative 15x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. You have to account for your variable, therefore we have our x there. Now let's try a few more examples. Let's try 4x outside a bracket. Inside a bracket we have 2x plus 3. What should we do? We start with the term on the outside. We have 4x. So I can also make a few notes on the side so that it's a bit more clearer. We have 4x times 2x. This times that. Okay, so let's start with our coefficients. Remember, the coefficients is basically the value or the number next to your variable. These x's are your variables and the numbers are your coefficients. Okay, we firstly have to say 4 times 2, which is 8. Now let's multiply the variables. You have x and x, which gives you x squared. Now, how do you know that it's x squared? Remember, your law of exponents, you came from the grade 10 exponents playlist. Remember, I said you have to watch the exponents videos first before doing products. That is how we do different topics in mathematics. You cannot do products without mastering your exponents. You cannot do factorization without knowing your products. So this is x times x, x times x. We have two terms that are multiplied, so we add the exponents. You know there's an invisible one here, an invisible one there. So it's x, 1 plus 1, which is x squared. So we said 4x times 4x, it's 8x squared. Then 4x times 3. You can also do this on the side, 4x times 3. You have to say 4 times 3, which is 12. But we have a variable, we have x here, so we just write it as it is. We don't have another x. It would be x squared, but in this case we just have 1x. So 4x times 3 is positive 12x. I hope that you guys are following now. Let's try number 2. Negative 3a times 2a minus 5b. What should we do? We have to start with the term that's on the outside. We have negative 3a. This is negative 3a times 2a. I can also do this on the side. I'll make sure that I show the steps on the side so that they're a bit more clearer for you. So this is negative 3a times 2a. Negative 3 times 2 should give you negative 6. Then a times a is a squared. So negative 3a times 2a should give you negative 6. Then you have a and a, which is a squared. Then you have negative 3a times negative 5b. Negative 3a times negative 5b. Negative 3 times negative 5. When you punch it in a calculator, please make sure that you put the negatives in a bracket. So it'll look like -3 times -5. Okay, you have -3 times -5, which is a positive 15. You should get a positive answer. A negative times a negative should give you positive, a negative times positive should give you a negative, and a positive times negative should give you a negative. A positive times positive obviously gives you a positive, excuse me. So -3 times -5 should give you a positive 15. If it's not positive, you probably didn't put your brackets right in the calculator. Let's account for variables. You have a and b. A times b should give you ab. So -3a times -5b should give you positive, so we use a plus, right? 15ab. You know this because you've also seen the grade 9 playlist. Let's try number 3. Let's do 2p squared outside our bracket, then p squared minus 3p plus 4. In this case, we have more terms. Remember, I told you guys in the grade 10 exponents playlist that terms are separated by the plus and the minus sign. So can you guys see that all these topics are linked? If you don't know exponents or the things that I've taught you in the exponents playlist, you won't know much of the products work. And if you don't know the products, you can't really do factorization. Products are the opposite of factorization. You want to go from here to there. So we have 2p squared. In a bracket, you have p squared minus 3p plus 4. Remember, we have to multiply what's outside with every term in the bracket. Terms are separated by the plus or minus sign. So in our bracket, we have this as the first term, that as the second term, and that as the third term. They are separated by the plus and the minus sign. Okay, we have 2p squared times p squared. 2p squared times p squared. Let's do it on the side. 2p squared times p squared. How do we solve this? P squared has an invisible 1 as the coefficient, right? So it's basically p times 1, which is 2, then p times p. However, it's p squared times p squared. It should give you a positive 4. How do you know this? You have two terms. You have p squared times p squared. You have two terms that are multiplied, so you add their exponents. Therefore, it's p to the power 2 plus 2, which is p to the power 4. So it's 2p to the power 4. Let's show this here. It can be more detailed when you write it in the main steps. So it'll be 2p squared times p squared. We have 2 times 1, which is 2. Then p squared times p squared, which is p to the power 2 plus 2. So we're done with that term. Let's move to the negative 3p. We have 2 times negative 3. Let's show this on the side. 2p squared times negative 3p. Okay. How do we solve this? You have to start with our values or the coefficients. You have 2 times negative 3. That should give you negative 6. Then p squared times p. It's p to the power 3. Let's move to this and that. We have 2 times negative 3. That should give you a negative 6. Then p squared times p. This should be p to the power 2 plus 1. You know there's an invisible 1 there. Okay, let's move to the last term. You have 2p squared times 4. In this case, you just have the coefficients. You have 2 and 2. So you have to say 2 times 4, which is 8, a positive 8. We have to account for our variables and the exponent. So it should be p squared. Now let's solve. 2p, 2 plus 2, which is 4, minus 6p, 2 plus 1, which is 3, plus 8p squared. This is your final answer. 2p to the power 4 minus 6p cubed plus 8p squared. This video was brought to you by Spotify. Whether you love discovering new music, listening to podcasts, or creating the perfect playlist, Spotify has something for everyone. With the free version, you can enjoy millions of songs anytime, anywhere. Want the ultimate experience? Upgrade to Spotify Premium to enjoy ad-free listening, offline downloads, unlimited skips, and even better sound quality. No interruptions, just non-stop music and entertainment wherever you go. Download Spotify today and start listening to music your way. Let's try the fourth example. 1 over 2x. In our bracket, we have 4x minus 6. This is the fourth example. So we should say 1 over 2x times 4x. I won't show all the steps this time. By now, you guys should know how to solve this. So this should be 1 over 2x times 4. So it's 1 over 2x times 4x. 1 over 2 times 4 should give you a 2. X times x is x squared. 1 over 2 times 4 is 2. X times x is x squared. Then 1 over 4 times negative 6. 1 over 4 times negative 6 should give you negative 3. Let's account for our exponent. We have x. So your answer is 2x squared minus 3x. Let's try the last example. Number 5. We have 5xy, 2x squared y minus 3xy squared. How do we solve this? We start with what's outside, we multiply it with all the terms that are inside. So we have 5xy times 2x squared y. Please make sure that you don't make any mistakes when it comes to your variables as well as your exponents. So on the side, let me show 5xy times 2x squared y. What do we start with? Our coefficients. You have 5 and x. 5 and 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Then x and x. Those are like terms. You have two terms that are multiplied, so we add their exponents. This is obviously x to the power 1. That's an invisible 1. So it's x. 1 plus 2 is 3. Y and y. Y to the power 2. Y times y is y squared. So let's write this here. 5 times 2, it's 10. Then x and x. You have x. Remember, that's an invisible 1. So it's 1 plus 2, which is 3. Then y times y, which is y squared. You did this times that. Now let's try 5xy times negative 3xy squared. 5 times negative 3 first, right? 5 times negative 3, we start with the coefficients, which is negative 15. Don't forget your signs. You have x and x. Those are like terms. X times x is x squared. Then y times y squared. Remember, there's an invisible 1 there. So you write our base as it is. We have y. That is your base. 1 plus 2, which is 3. So our final answer is 10x cubed y squared minus 15x squared y cubed. These are all the subtopics under products. You have the single bracket distribution, which is what we did in this video. So you can write all these subtopics in your notebook, and when you're done with a certain subtopic, you can just make a tick on it. We have the single bracket distribution. Secondly, we have the binomial by binomial. We'll do this in the second video where we have double brackets. Binomials are basically where we have two terms. Okay, they're called binomials in algebra. We also have special products. Squaring a binomial, remember binomial means two terms. We also have product of sum and difference. This is basically the difference of two squares. Then binomial by trinomial. Binomial means two terms. Trinomial means three terms. Then when you have one term, it's called a monomial. Okay, so make a list of all these subtopics. Start with this one, then that one, this one. Under special products, you have these two. So make a list of these two, then binomial by trinomial. And lastly, under all those notes, make notes of what a binomial is. It means two terms. A trinomial means three terms. One term means monomial. You You can also include that terms are separated by the plus and minus sign. Let's make a few examples before I conclude this video. If you have 2x squared minus 3, how many terms do you have? You have 1, 2, so you have 2 terms. You can also write these examples in your notes. They are separated by the minus sign. Remember, terms are separated by the plus or minus sign. It has 2 terms, therefore it's a binomial. If you have 5y squared plus 8 minus p squared, how many terms do you have? You have a plus sign here and a minus sign there. You have 1, 2, 3. You have 3 terms. This is a, you have 1, 2, 3, yes, 3 terms. This is a trinomial. Let's say m squared. You have m squared here. You don't have a plus or a minus. It's just one term. Therefore, it's a monomial. What about 6x to the power 5 times 8m? How many terms do you have? You have 8m to the power 5 times 5m. We don't have a plus or minus sign. Therefore, it's one term. These two things, you have 6x to the power 5 times 8m, right? They're not separated by the plus or minus sign. So we can't really say that it's 2 terms. It's one thing. So what about 2x divided by p? How many terms do we have? We don't have a plus or minus sign. Therefore, it's one term. So you have to look out for the plus or minus sign. And in algebra, once you have more than one term, meaning once you have a plus or minus sign, things start to get tricky. There are different things that you cannot do. However, there's a lot that you can do when you have one term. You usually want to work with one term as it's easier to simplify or to work with. See you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and remember, you're learning binomials.